What's going on, guys? How is it going? How you like that new YouTube intro type thing I'm trying? But anyways, I got both GXs out. I got the motorcycle here and just starting them like I do maybe once a week, just to keep the engines turning every once in a while and stuff, and keep the batteries charged. Today I want to do a budget video on this GX. I'm basically gonna start out listing the mods that I did in the order that I did them. So let's start going through those right now. Man, this thing runs so good, guys. Listen to that. That is awesome. I did have to steal a fuse out of here for the fog lights in the other one. I accidentally blew it by touching the wires together. But man, this thing runs so smooth. I'm so excited to get it on the road. Title process, it's been a real nightmare, but I'm almost done. So anyways, let's get to the other GX. All right, so obviously the first thing I have to start with is the price of the vehicle itself. So I paid $6,500 for this truck. I could throw some pictures up to give you an idea of what it looked like. You know, it wasn't terrible, wasn't great, just looked like a normal Alpine Silver GX or whatever it's called. Some paint defects, so you can see here, you know, it's not ideal on some of the fenders. You have little issues like this, clear coat, and yeah. So obviously, since I was going to make an off-road kind of ripper anyway, I didn't really care about this stuff. I did care that the paint on the clear coat on the roof was messed up because I didn't want to get rust, you know, have any sort of water intrusion. So what I actually went ahead and did is, even though the base coat was a little bit, you know, iffy underneath, I clear coated over it with a bunch of layers and everything, just to make sure that this thing is secured. You know, there's going to be no water intrusion, there's going to be no roof rust or anything like that. So that's what this looks like. So you can actually see that the base coat isn't perfect, but if you could feel it, it feels really smooth. All right, so even though the base coat's faded from when the clear coat faded, this actually has a nice layer of clear coat on it all the way down into these seams. And that's the entire roof here. I could throw up some pictures of when I actually did it. I didn't have a YouTube channel at that point. Let me turn this thing off. I didn't have a YouTube channel at that point, so I didn't think to film it, but you could see my thumbprint right there to prove it, because I'm an idiot. So it's kind of hard to see when it's dirty especially, but the roof has been all clear coated, and it actually looks and performs pretty well, because before, when you get water on the roof, it would just like kind of absorb it. So that's not good. Now if you spray the roof with water, it just beads right up into little, you know, beads of water, and you just dry it right off, and it's great. That's the price of the car, and basically the first modification I did with the clear coat. So the next modification I did was the Eibach Pro Truck lift system. You can see them right here. Beauties, right? And also the Freedom Off-Road upper control arm. All right, there are those Freedom Off-Road upper control arms. All right, now let's go over the pricing for those items.
So the Freedom Off-Road upper control arms were a gift for Christmas, so I'm not including them in my list, but they are about, I think, $365. So if you're keeping a list, definitely add those to yours. The Eibach Pro Truck lift system was $810, and it did take them a couple months to ship it out to me, but when it arrived, it had everything I needed. And even though it didn't come with instructions for me, it was a pretty simple install, and I documented that process on the YouTube channel as well. So check it out.
All right, next we have the 4 tires, of course. And these are Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws. These are awesome. You got the snowflake rating right there. It's kind of hard to see with all the dirt. These ones are, let me find the size, 255 8017s. So these are tall, skinny boys. And that's really what I was going for. You never see a tank with fat, huge tracks, all right? You want to get below the surface and dig for that traction. And so far, they've been proving to perform very well. There's been people who are slipping all over the trail on huge 35-inch mud tires, and I've been totally fine. Couldn't break traction if I tried. So let's go over the pricing for those.
So as I said before, these tires have been very impressive, and not only in their ability to climb stuff at, say, Cleghorn or in Big Bear, but also in their ability to be quiet, great touring tires. Another benefit to them being skinnier than what a lot of people run is that the rolling resistance isn't as great, and therefore the difference between gas mileage between them and stock is much less.
And next, of course, we have our sleeping platform build. And look how convenient this little pop-up has been. This was originally just meant to fill the gap between the middle seats and the actual end of the platform, but it actually kind of doubles as a blocker for, you know, stuff not being able to go forward and damage the seats. Just an extra layer of protection. So I'm gonna go over the pricing for this right now. And you can also see that we added something. These little pull-out long plastic drawers. I got everything I need in here and here. Just pull it off like that, push the top back. You know, got all my recovery gear in here, emergency food, emergency cooker. I have my winch control right there, toilet paper, the necessities, little lantern, a shovel in here.
So this sleeping platform turned out much better than I expected. For that reason, I highly recommend watching the video that we made. We spent almost no time and money on this thing, you know, an afternoon and a couple tools and zero skill, and we were able to put it together, and it has been very effective for us.
This is the DeMello off-road front winch bumper, stealth. So normally their bumpers have the DO logo in the middle. I just wanted the space for the light bar, because you could mount like some pods on top, but I just wanted a light bar. I figured it'd be simpler, and I really like the look of this. So I'm gonna go over the pricing for the bumper, powder coated with the single hoop.
So I happened to get a bit of a deal on this bumper because I happened to be in the market for a front winch bumper during Black Friday. I don't remember exactly what the percentage was, but it was, you know, a bit more reasonable than MSRP, so I decided to pull the trigger on it. It installed fairly easily, even though they didn't have GX instructions ready. I recommend that you watch my video if you're in the market for one of these and you want help with the install, so definitely check it out.
And next up, we have our Smitty built winch. All right, this, you can't really see it very well, but this is the X2O, 10,000 pound with synthetic rope. All right, this thing has everything I need. It was super, you know, cost effective for me and very easy to install into the bumper, which had the pre-made holes for it. So I'm gonna go over the pricing for that.
If you're already shopping with DeMello, I definitely recommend buying your winch through them as well. If you find a cheaper price online, they were actually kind enough to match the price that I found for me. So definitely, if you're in the market for the DeMello bumper, they fit the winch perfectly, and this is the setup that they recommend for their bumpers anyway. So the whole thing just worked out. The winch seems to function properly. We'll see if we ever need it. So.
All right, next up, we have the Rough Country Off-Road single row LED light bar. This thing's awesome. It gave me basically daylight out on the trail at Cleghorn the other day. or the last weekend, and it was super helpful out there. Now this one also comes with the daytime running lights, you know, so you can kind of have people see you without blinding them. So also check out this mount. The mount was free because I just modified the factory switch for the variable ride control. So there's fully on. I don't know if you can see, it's bright as day. And this is what the daytime running light actually looks like. So not too bright in real life. It's hard to tell on camera, but you can actually see the LEDs in between the main LEDs are lit up. So it's kind of a cool feature. All right, and next we have these Total Chaos sway bar relocation blocks right here. Those were super easy to install, and they make it so your sway bar doesn't hit the spring right here, which it had a habit of doing. It's very annoying, and those definitely solved that issue for me. And here's one of my favorite mods, my Baja Designs Squadron Sport Amber fog lights. These things are so awesome when you're in the snow. Instead of having the white light of like a light bar or something, basically all you're doing is lighting up each snowflake, right? Or a raindrop or whatever. So white light's not really great when it's like a total storm out there, because you're just putting a white wall of light in front of you. But if you get amber, I mean, or whatever color this is, the yellow, it just shoots right through all of the big wall of snow, and you can actually see. So these things are super helpful.
So instead of buying the Toyota specific kit for these, I ended up just getting the universal kit and cutting into the wiring harness that goes into the factory fog lights and hooked these things up with the things they gave me, and it worked great. So check out the video.
So I was able to actually integrate these into the factory switch. So, boom. Look at how bright it just lights everything up. Super critical mod for me. Okay guys, so these depot headlights definitely completed the look of this car for me. They transformed it from looking like yellow faded to just a bunch of little jewels here.
I highly recommend this modification, but make sure that if you're in the market for a steel bumper, do the headlights first, because it's very difficult to get the old headlights out and the new headlights in with the bracketry that surrounds the headlight with a steel bumper in place. So just be aware of that. Do the modification before you get your steel bumper, and you'll be golden.
All right guys, next up is my roof basket type thing. This is the China Special from Amazon, and it's okay. I mean, it gives me somewhere to store my traction boards, but honestly, it's mostly for looks, and the MPG loss that I feel like I'm getting from it is not really worth it. Plus, you know, you can already see some corrosion in these joints right here, and I don't live in a super like rust belty area. It's just Southern California, so yeah, I don't know about this one. And of course, I can't forget these bad boys that have saved my car more than once. Oh, it's all good, I got sliders. White knuckle off-road, rock sliders. If that happened to my door, it would have been completely done for. Instead, I just have a couple little scrapes here and there and on the other side. These things are worth their weight in gold and cheap insurance in physical form right here. So let me give you the pricing on these.
I actually did one of my first install videos on these white knuckle off-road rock sliders. The install on the passenger side, I believe, was very simple. All you have is these U-bolts that go and bolt around the frame. The only tricky part was on the driver's side, where there's not much room, and there's a brake line bracket that you need to kind of relocate. Other than that, these things were great, easy install. Check out the video.
All right, now I can get into what I really want to talk about, which is the price of labor, or what the price of labor would have been if I didn't just do all of the installs for these items myself. So I'm gonna break down that pricing for you.
So these are all just labor estimates in my area. The Eibach lift with upper control arms is about $800 from DeMello Off-Road on their website. The sleeping platform is mostly going to be labor. DeMello bumper installs $450, and per the website that doesn't include a winch light bar LED fog light install. So I'm estimating that would be $360 to $400, and on the high end I'm estimating around $2,000 for labor for all these.
And hopefully this video just gives you guys an idea of what you can do with the GX. Like I said in the last video, I was originally targeting a $10,000 overlanding rig, so my wife and I could go camping and, you know, relative comfort, and we could also have some fun on trails. Obviously it didn't turn out that way because I got into some expensive items. So if you're looking to build a GX, just go ahead and cut those items off the list. Front bumper and winch, probably not necessary for most people. I don't have a lot of off-roading friends, so I would need to self-recover if I got stuck out in who knows where. So that's just something I thought would be a good thing to have. It may not be the same for everybody, so definitely use this budget as a guide. It might help you. Prices may be different, but definitely didn't include sales tax because it's different for everybody. So I decided not to include that. So I hope you guys got some valuable information from that video. Let me know in the comments what you think and what you were able to build your GX for or your rig for. And tell me if there's a better bang for buck platform that you could possibly build an overlanding rig for. I want to know what other options are out there and know your guys' opinions on that. So let me know. We'll see you next time.